Greetings, everybody. Welcome to week number 2. At last check, most everybody had posted the things they need to post for their week 1 work. But if you are running behind with something, but you are intending to get it in, please do let me know so that I can make sure to look out for that. I have not turned on the student view yet because I want to take a quick look at the concourse syllabus with you. This has to be in my view, otherwise it's not openable. So just a couple of reminders. I always like to kick off the week with a look at the schedule. We are, of course, in the accelerated summer A, which means that we only have 7 weeks total. So these weeks are going to go by very fast. And essentially, each week is another of the modules or units, depending on your terminology, from the Phi Theta Kappa leadership curriculum. I had a few questions this week about the curriculum, and if you wanted to get signed up for the guest access, I had a couple of folks report that the guest access price had gone up. I could not find any information about that on the current Phi Theta Kappa website. It still says that a guest account is available for $10. So I'm going to show you where I found that information. In fact, hold on, let me share my screen. So that if you still wanted to try to get a guest account access so you can see more of the bells and whistles in the Moodle, I wanted to show you where I found it. So all I did was put in to Google PTK Leadership Development Studies, and you can see I searched it because it's the first thing that came up. This is the page that is specifically about that program. It's the second one that comes up on Google. And so if you click on this page, it talks about the curriculum uses and the certification. The textbooks, this gives you access to the course. That maybe that isn't the page that I found the information on. Where was it? Let's look. Maybe it's the first one. Okay, so on that page, the very first one, under about the courses, it talks about the units. It does not. I am not now seeing. Okay, so I made a liar of myself. I'm not now seeing, but I found a page the other day that said that it was still, the guest access was $10. Let me try to put that in. Oh, I think that was it. The leadership facts, except I'm just hitting things. Yep, that's where it was. Okay, so it's under support.ptk.org, and then it's an article. So when I search, if you want to search Google, also put in guest access, and that will take you to the right information. But so this is where it still says, oh, good grief, I don't know why it keeps scrolling back up. It's going to drive me crazy. Now, granted, this is dated the 2021, but it does say that the leadership certification is still, it's a $10 fee. I don't know what's going on with my computer right now, but anyway, that's where I found it. And there is a link to click on. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. But honestly, you do not have to purchase the guest access. If you are fine with reading just the text, the links are on the free pages as well. So it really isn't a national emergency, but keep that in mind. All right, so in terms of what's due this week, you have another discussion board. You have the second reading journal, And then you should also then go back to the first discussion board and respond to your classmates. You may or may not noticed that you already have 80 points for those responses to others. So you get those points for free. And then if you don't respond by next Sunday night for Unit 1, then those points would come off, which is not what we want to do. So make sure that you do keep up with those points or with those responses to others, and that will solve any potential issues. All right, so let me just go back and go to the student view, and we can take a look at what is in Unit 2. Go to the modules page, and we should be done with that one, and we should be done with that one. So I think I mentioned last week, when I'm scrolling through a long class, this is not terribly long because it's only 7 weeks, but I like to, once I've made sure I've turned everything in and all that stuff, I like to, close it up. However, you are going to be going back to the discussion board at least once for this one to do your responses to others. Now, I noticed many of you had already been responding to others, which is absolutely fine, but you do have a full week from the due date to turn those extra responses in. Your score for discussion board 1 is solely based on your own response to the prompt. So keep that in mind. All right, so we are moving past week 1. I will tell you that servant leadership is one of the more popular units in this curriculum amongst most of my past students in this course. So I think you guys will enjoy it as well. Servant leadership is a common term in leadership circles, but not necessarily what we tend to think of when we think of leaders, because servant leadership is exactly what it implies, in that people who believe in servant leadership feel that their role is to lead by serving. So it's far less power driven and more service driven. So you'll be reading about that this week. The classic case talks about Harriet Tubman, who most of us are familiar with as being one of the main leaders in the slavery era, specifically helping people escape slavery and go to the north through the Underground Railroad. So Harriet Tubman was exactly what we're talking about, a servant leader. Another voice that you're probably very familiar with would be Mahatma Gandhi in his servant leadership. So you're going to be experiencing some people that you've probably heard of, and also some people that may be new to you. So the classic case is Harriet Tubman. The leadership profile is Mahatma Gandhi. And then there are, as usual, some TED Talks. And the recommended film, if you have never watched this film, you don't have to watch it for this course, but I do highly recommend you watch it. And you definitely can use it as one of your works that you talk about in your journal, is Hidden Figures. It is a fantastic movie about 3 African-American women who played an integral role in NASA in the early days. And their contributions, of course, at the time, as mathematicians, largely went unnoticed because, of course, they were not only African-American, but they were also women. And so, people didn't really think of women as being contributors in that field, and sometimes still don't. But anyway, it's a really fascinating movie, and got a lot of recognition at the time. So if you do get a chance to take a look at it, that is the film study for this particular unit. As usual, you've got a video lecture. You've got the syllabus, some due dates to remind yourself of with the personal leadership discussion board. And then this link does take you back to the first discussion board. So if you have closed that module, You can still reach it off of this page. That is certainly fine. But you can also then navigate on the Unit 2 page to the assignments. So the first one, our discussion board this week, is based on the Myers-Briggs personality type indicators. If you've never taken a Myers-Briggs test before, this will be a great opportunity for you. They can be kind of fun. There are also a lot of fun versions of Myers-Briggs that base your personality types on things like Star Wars characters and Harry Potter characters and things of that nature. Disney princesses, for example. So you're going to take a regular kind of more serious one, but you could certainly try out some of those fun ones as well. And you're going to share your findings on the discussion board this week. So let's take a look at the prompt. Like I said, I've pretty much already said what it does, but anyway, there's a link to one that is a free one that's called the 16 Personalities Test. And then, like I said, you can certainly look for other free versions of it. I would not pay to take one. There are a lot of MBTI personality tests and other style of personality tests that do charge you for it. But there's plenty of free ones as well. All right, so take a look at that and see what you learn about yourself. That's your discussion board for this week. And then, of course, as with last week, once this one is over, you'll have a week to respond to 2 of your classmates as well. And then, of course, you have the second reading journal. I had a lot of questions about the journals this week in terms of formatting and setting up the works cited and things of that nature. So if you didn't see it in the announcements, I posted a journal template that has a sample journal entry in it, and it is in, I'm not going to open it in Word, but it is in Word format. So you can open this in Word and actually kind of treat it as a template if it helps you. This one, oh, I thought that one did have a works cited. With the works cited, just do your best. You can use the materials in the library's citation center. And let me show you real quick how to find that. Oops, can't type today. There's the library. From the main page, when you go to the library page, you want to click on libraries, and then it's the very first thing. So for example, this is the MLA citation guide, and we would be looking for things that, if you're looking at the TED Talks, of course, you can use this one, the YouTube one. And then I don't see one in the library, but the other thing that you can do, I'm a big fan of Google. So if we just Google citing classroom materials MLA, you're going to find samples on how to do that. Okay. Now, just a note, when you're talking about the author, I am not the author. This is the I am the instructor. So it would be whoever the author is, it would be the title of it, and then the course code would be SLS2264, taught by Jackie Pierce. And then we are not in D2L, we're in Canvas. That you would have LSSC, the date, and the URL. So if you're using the free materials, that's the easiest way to quickly cite that information. And that's certainly fine. That's a fine way to do it. Remember, for the free stuff in the module, it's going to be on a separate page. So you do want to look at the main page to get the video lecture and those kinds of things, but then the free version of the materials is going to be on its own page. And it does have some links in it, but it is mostly just, here's the text of that you would have read on in the Moodle for directly from Lake Sumter. I mean, directly from Phi Theta Kappa. And then, of course, there are there are links to the YouTubes that also do have a full transcript as well. All right. So as usual, I hope you have a great week, and I do feel free to reach out if you've got questions. I think we've had at least one question in your class on the Q&A discussion board, which is awesome. So don't forget about that. And I will be back with you next Monday if I do not talk to you in between now and then. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great Monday and a great week.